alleged conspiracy problems. So we could be talking about Biden administration officials that could be getting pulled into this. And it could get all the way up to President Obama. I mean, having now really read in on this case, there's a real question about whether Barack Obama's about to have the same kind of trouble that Jack Smith caused for Donald.
Go to the next topic here, which is Adam's top topic, talking about Obama saying every man needs a gay friend. So Obama goes
Barack,
on his wife's podcast, okay? And they're sitting there having this conversation, and it opens, they covered a lot of different things. Right off the bat, they talked about the divorce. Hey, aren't we supposed to be getting a divorce and all this stuff? Just tell me.
When Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David stepped into the spotlight, it was more than just commentary, it was demolition. Obama's polished legacy, once guarded by charisma and crafted narratives, didn't stand a chance. With razor-sharp clarity and unapologetic candor, they dismantled the illusion piece by piece. The lofty speeches, emptied of substance. The promises, faded echoes. The golden aura, stripped away to reveal the disillusionment beneath. This wasn't a polite exchange, it was a public reckoning. No teleprompter to lean on, no adoring crowd to drown out the truth. What emerged was a takedown so precise, so unforgiving, it left the Obama myth clinging to relevance by a thread.
That one day, the intelligence community under Barack Obama was ready to come out and say that the Russians did not interfere in the 2016 election and really had no part in it, and that whole thing was kind of bullshit. Then Barack Obama pulled them all into the White House, they had a big meeting, and then literally the next day, they were like, Russia interfered to help Trump, and leaked it to all the reporters watching.
Think you're Obama, okay? First go from the Obama's lens. Okay. Obamas are sitting there having to hear people compare Kamala to Obama. Crazy. Do you know what that does to Obama? Do you know Obama is sitting there saying, shut the that's what Obama's saying internally. Yeah.
Barack Obama has officially transitioned from leader of the free world to that guy who keeps turning every room into a TED Talk no one asked for. These days, he's less commander-in-chief and more motivational speaker-in-residence at the celebrity gala circuit. If managing your image were an Olympic event, he'd be clutching a participation trophy crafted from recycled speeches, shattered campaign promises, and a few leftover drone shells. As the world teeters on the edge wars erupting, writes, unraveling Obama's busy snapping selfies with pop stars and preaching hope like a life coach who bailed on the team when the season got tough.
Knowing that there are divorce rumors and, she's not showing up for him, whether it's at the Jimmy Carter funeral or the Trump inauguration or the basketball game he just went to in LA, when visiting their daughters and then dinner with the daughters was not there. Here she is talking about it. If it were me, I would say something nice about him. I would say he's just so charming. It was meant to be. I knew he could heal the earth in the way he did. There was only one person who could do it, and it was my husband, Barack Obama, whatever.
Just when it seemed like Obama might quietly drift into documentary mode retirement voiceovers, soft piano music, and grainy flashbacks, bam, enter Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David wielding verbal flamethrowers. Together, they didn't just critique his legacy, they torched it, like dragging an old rug through a parking lot. Every poll exposed the stains no one wanted to talk about. Broken promises, global missteps, and media-manufactured shine. You know it's serious when Megyn Kelly, who's faced political infernos without blinking, and Patrick Bet-David, who interrogates guests like he's peeling back the fabric of truth itself, both pause and say, this record, it needs a deep clean and maybe a biohazard warning.
Obama's office spokesperson, Patrick Rodenbush, great first name, rejected the office of the Director of National Intelligence. Reports claim that senior Obama administration officials orchestrated the Russia collusion hoax, stating, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. And he called the allegations outrageous and ridiculous, a weak attempt.
Let's be real, Obama wasn't so much a president as he was a walking push notification, sleek, well-packaged, and constantly pinging the public with poetic sound bites that evaporated on contact. His speeches beautifully empty. They promised steak, but delivered scented steam. Hope and change became the brandiate. The only real change was how artfully he sidestepped accountability. With a smile and a teleprompter, he made vague optimism feel like a governing strategy. Somehow, he sold the illusion that charisma could replace action, and millions bought in proof that presentation can outshine performance, at least for a while.
Because The boss has told them to get back to him with an assessment that says Russia did interfere and Russia meant to help Trump. And so where do they turn? They don't have it, except in the Steele dossier, which we now know was totally made up. It's been entirely discredited. That was the best evidence they...
While the world metaphorically burned, Obama seemed more focused on perfecting his Spotify playlists and turning the word nuance into a personal brand. Crisis. What crisis? There's a podcast to record. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly's eyes were rolling so hard they practically looped into another dimension, watching the former president soak up applause for speeches that boiled down to "Be Better and Like Me," who already nailed it. It's leadership theater at its finest, starring a man who mastered the art of saying everything without actually doing anything.
For me, if I were able to run for a third term, Michelle would divorce me. So, it's useful that I don't have that choice to make.
I know you have to leave.
But Michelle was never wild about politics. Michelle once explained to me, I try to organize my life not to have a lot of mess around. And politics is just a big...
Patrick Bet-David didn't flinch. He came for Obama's carefully polished legacy like it was overdue for demolition. No hesitation, no reverence. He sliced through the myth like a White House visitor log after a sketchy backroom deal. The halo gone. The Netflix glow. Irrelevant. Patrick didn't buy into the branding. He dove straight into the wreckage. He called out the media smokescreens, the performative outrage, the uncanny gift Obama had for standing next to political disasters while somehow staying spotless. The man practically invented political vanishing acts. Hard question, disappear, public heat, retreat to a yacht, tweet something poetic about unity, and re-emerge just in time for another speaking gig. Obama mastered the art of appearing wise while avoiding responsibility, delivering 40-minute speeches on crises he quietly helped ignite, all while sounding like a passive observer. It's the political equivalent of watching someone torch your house, then show up mid-flames to narrate the tragedy and sell you a branded water bottle. Still, he's constantly paraded back into Democratic circles like a sacred artifact, despite leading the party into historic losses, nearly 1,000 seats gone under his watch. That's not strategy. That's political erosion in real time. And yet, they keep asking him how to win, as if ghosting every midterm and avoiding voter turnout like it's a contagious disease is the secret to victory. If success leaves breadcrumbs, Obama's legacy is a trail of vanishing ink, just enough to squint at, never enough to follow.
Tell me what place Trump wouldn't go to on media where they would trash him. Where would he not go to? Would he not go to CNN? Would he not go to MSNBC? Would he not go to Jimmy Fallon? Would he not go to Jimmy Kimmel? Would he not go to... Would he not? He went everywhere, right? Now, let me flip this on you. How many times have you seen Obama, Clinton, Hillary, any of those guys
Biden
go on Fox? Ever? How many times? The answer is no.
Megyn Kelly didn't just question Obama's media darling status, she torched it with precision. And frankly, the flame was long overdue. For years, his press coverage was so gentle it could have been ghostwritten by his own memoir team. Drone strikes, whispered Benghazi, soft-pedaled. The IRS targeting scandal, quietly swept under glossy Vanity Fair profiles and breezy Spotify playlists. The media treated him less like a two-term president and more like a national monument, untouchably cool. Meanwhile, the moral clarity he was praised for, outsourced to Hollywood Alisters, while he played the part of comm commander-in-chief. Patrick Bet-David wasn't buying it either. He saw through the designer suits and polished speeches, calling Obama's legacy what it truly was, a masterclass in branding. This wasn't a grassroots movement. It was a well-oiled marketing campaign with a global body count. A Nobel Peace Prize sat on his shelf, while drone strikes became routine as if foreign policy was just another video game with no pause button. If irony needed a spokesperson, it would be Obama, smiling calmly through a press conference on restraint while bombing 7 countries in the background. And then there was the economy. The man came to rescue it by tossing lifelines to the very Wall Street titans who lit the match. For the everyday American, recovery was a headline. For the elite, it was a windfall.
Obama planned, a lot of this is from Racket News, which everybody should read directly, Matt's group. Intel officials planned a December 9th, 2016 presidential daily brief, which is always from the Intel community for the president, letting him know what's happening in the world. They planned a PDB that would say foreign adversaries, quoting here, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election.
Wall Street cashed in, Main Street got steamrolled, and Obama stepped out smiling, pointing to unemployment graphs that dipped just enough to justify a victory lap. He delivered elegant speeches about rebuilding the middle class while dining with Silicon Valley elites who treat paying taxes like it's an urban myth. Sure, the recovery was real if you owned a yacht and had an offshore account. For the average American, it felt more like window dressing on a boarded-up economy. Megyn Kelly didn't let the crowd forget how quickly Obama disappeared when it came time to back real reform. Police reform, he talked. Racial justice, more talking. Immigration. Now there was action, just not the kind people expected. He deported more individuals than any president before him, all while standing in front of hope posters like he was the avatar of change. It's almost an art form, being both the symbol of progress and the administrator of status quo. And then there's healthcare. Obama didn't build a system. He brokered a deal with Big Pharma sitting at the table. He slapped a revolutionary label on a bill written in insurance fine print and dared the public to complain. Obamacare wasn't reform, it was a confusing maze of deductibles and mandates, offering just enough coverage to avoid collapse and just enough cost to feel like a burden. He had the political capital for transformation and spent it on keepsakes for a legacy that looks bold until you check the price tag.
See if maybe this is a way America can hear me at this moment. Go back to that day 10 years ago. What I think binds it together, all these different strands. A case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections, of mourning. I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself.
Patrick Bet-David didn't mince words. He sliced through the glossy narrative with the precision of a scalpel. While the public swooned over Obama's charisma, Patrick pointed out the obvious. This was a president more obsessed with curating his image than curating actual justice. He was the undisputed king of optic-sipping Flint water for the cameras while the pipes remained poisoned, flying into flood zones for somber photo ops while FEMA response times lagged behind 1990s. At some point, it felt like you'd get better crisis management from a glitchy Wi-Fi router in a lightning storm. And yet, the myth persists. Obama isn't remembered as a politician with real-world consequences. He's idolized like a Marvel superhero, immune to criticism, armored in nostalgia. But that loyalty isn't just misguided, it's been repackaged and weaponized. He left the White House and strolled straight into Netflix deals, handing out documentaries nobody requested, while the country continued unraveling under policies he helped set in motion. Megyn Kelly wasn't having it. With the clarity of someone who's spent years watching how power corrupts often in 4000, she dismantled the illusion. While Obama preaches about protecting democracy from stages bankrolled by billionaires with offshore accounts, she reminded everyone that this was the same man who quietly stretched executive power like it was his favorite hobby.
Tonight, they wake up. Oh my God, Michelle, bed is wet. What, babe? I'm right here. Babe, is it already November? Did they already announce he's president? No, babe. Today's the October 25th. Oh my God, babe. Oh my God, please hold my hand. Please hold my hand. Please hold my hand. Oh my God, it's not here yet. Every night they're going to sleep. Wedding.
His administration wasn't just flawed, it was dysfunction dressed in designer polish. Obama had a gift for making political inertia look like genius. In action, rebranded as strategic patience. Half measures sold as bipartisan wisdom. Silence on urgent issues. Framed as presidential restraint, he ghosted national crises with more commitment than a bad Tinder date hand. Still walked away to standing ovations. But the aftershocks of his decisions didn't exit stage left with him. They're still echoing, etched into every smug grin, every carefully choreographed appearance, every poetic speech layered with vague reassurance. Patrick Bet-David sees through the act. He's not hypnotized by the cool dad vibes or the polished delivery. He knows the difference between a leader who shapes the future and a mascot who sells nostalgia. And Obama. He's become the latter, a ceremonial figure rolled out to charm donors and distract from the current Democratic Party's glaring lack of conviction. He's like background jazz, smooth, likable, but completely avoidable when real problems come knocking. His legacy, turning mediocrity into myth. Behind the smoke and mirrors lies a fractured party, a bloated surveillance state, and a generation of young leaders who confuse hashtags with actual policy. Yet there he stands preaching hope, like some modern-day Moses, descending from Mount Audacity, handing out commandments on how to gracefully avoid doing anything real.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, it's the other team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha. But again, no Michelle, according to TM.
Megyn and Patrick didn't just offer criticism, they dropped the mic, flipped the table, and set fire to the illusion. They weren't dazzled by the branding. They didn't fall for the calm cadence, the performative humility, or the endless book tours wrapped in faux introspection. They cut through the curated playlists, the Netflix documentaries, and the Hallmark speeches and said what too many are still too starstruck to admit. Obama's not leading, he's narrating. From a safe, cushy distance, collecting royalties, while offering commentary on crises he helped create, he's the guy who shows up to the fire. He lit not with water but with a marshmallow stick and a podcast sponsorship. The man will drop a 12-part series on empathy in leadership, then board a private jet to a climate summit where he'll passionately scold the world about emissions. It's like being lectured about clean eating by someone double-fisting cheeseburgers on a treadmill. And the roast. Far from over, because with every new headline, every polished interview, every monologue about the better angels of our nature, the chasm between Obama's words and his actions grows more laughable. He's not a beacon of hope, he's the brand ambassador. For political disappointment, the myth wasn't sustained by malice, but by mastery. A dream sold in elegant wrapping, delivered with charm, and open to reveal recycled slogans and missed chances. And when Megyn and Patrick lit the match, all that packaging went up in smoke, leaving, not hate, but something far more dangerous. Clarity. He was a master illusionist, promising transformation, selling serenity, delivering complexity, and exiting stage left before the dust could even settle. But don't worry, he's still around. Not to lead, not to reckon with the consequences. Just a comment, like a retired coach heckling from the cheap seats. Yelling plays he never had the guts to run when it counted. And the commentary, oh, it's far from over. Obama's still out there, pulling at the spotlight like a man trying to conduct an orchestra long after the band's packed up and left, with the sheet music in his briefcase. He's become the ghost of administrations past, drifting into the narrative whenever the current mess needs a poetic distraction. He offers well-crafted speeches, elegant metaphors, and TED Talk wisdom, as if words alone can fix inflation, stabilize foreign policy, or breathe courage into a party that folds faster than a paper swan in a thunderstorm. While he polishes his halo, the rest of the country is still inhaling the debris from the economic mess he swept under the rhetorical rug. And somehow, despite it all, he still gets treated like he invented governance itself. Pundits bow to every syllable, mistaking tone for truth, and eloquence for effectiveness, all while ignoring the pattern. Talk pretty, do little, disappear quickly. Megyn and Patrick weren't attacking, they were asking what no one else dares to. What exactly are we still applauding? The speech cadence, the curated Spotify playlists, or the comforting illusion that we were handed something revolutionary when it was really just the status quo in a sharper suit? Because the truth doesn't echo through standing ovations. It lingers in the silence when it mattered most. When bold action was needed and all we got was another carefully massaged paragraph. Legacy isn't sculpted in post-presidency, memoirs, or podcast interviews. It's forged in the heat of the moment, when the stakes are highest, and the spotlight is blinding. And now, as the myth begins to crack and the applause grows faint, reality walks in unforgiving and unfiltered. And this echo, it's still bouncing around the walls, just loud enough to remind us the story isn't finished.